Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and you know what we haven't done in a hot minute? We haven't cried about the meta. We haven't cried about a broken hero, and today we're gonna change that. So let's talk about Reaper, let's talk about McCree, let's talk about the tanks, and let's talk about how lonely I am. No, that could be Friday's video. So last Thursday with the Year of the Pig event, tanks receive a massive nerf. Well, not just tanks, but anybody that has armor, because as you guys know, goats has been running rampant. And a lot of people were wanting goats to be nerfed because they hate the fact that organized teams were winning games. That's kind of surprising when I say that, because shouldn't that be every freaking game? But hey, you know what? It's a little bit cheesy because it requires a specific composition and people don't want to counter it. It's just a big mess. Well, now they received a nerf for their armor that reduces the damage received to them from -5 to -3. All right, that's good. But there's a problem with that. So now Goats is being brought down back to Earth, alright? They're not in the heavens, they're not with Jeff Kaplan, because now Reaper also got buffed along with it. So not only is the counter now going to be a much more feasible option, all because he can easily shred them, all because armor is now deteriorated, but now he received a buff that allows him to last a whole lot longer because his life steal increased from 30% to 50%, which now brings up the conversation, okay, now Goats is a whole lot worse, but to make matters worse, now the #1 counter is a whole lot better for not only just tanks, but heroes in general. So a lot of people are claiming that Reaper is going to be the next broken hero, is going to be the next Bastion from Season 5, the next Junkrat from Season, I don't even remember, Season 7, the next Mercy, the hero that everyone needs to play to be able to win games. Or is he? The changes to Reaper wasn't to just kill Goats right away. It was supposed to make it so that Reaper is an obvious counter for Goats. If you have the idea of countering Goats right away, right when you start the game, well, you're probably going to be able to counter all because you have the Reaper on the field. But even if they don't run Goats, if the enemy team doesn't decide to run the 3 tanks and 3 healers, Reaper can still be an optimal hero. And that's what I feel like a lot of people are kind of forgetting, is to look at the bigger picture with all these patches, with all these nerfs and buffs, because obviously this update was supposed to bring down Goats from being less effective. They nerfed D.Va, they nerfed Brigitte, they nerfed armor just in general, but they also want to buff Reaper to be able to handle Goats, for there to be an obvious counter so people can stop crying, oh my god, how do we counter Goats? Where Reaper now is going to be able to excel to the fullest when there's 3 tanks on the field. However, what if there aren't 3 tanks on the field? What if there's just even 1 tank on the field? Well, now they buffed him to allow him to be able to still succeed at his strength, which is being able to bust through big, heavy heroes. Beforehand, he wasn't an optimal hero. He wasn't a good choice compared to other DPS heroes. You might as well just run a McCree. You might as well just run other heroes. But now, since his lifesteal increased, now he has a little bit more bang for his buck in my eyes. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you run Goats and there's a Reaper on the enemy team, you guys are messing up. You guys got to adapt. However, what I'm also trying to say here is that Reaper is now an option to play in any type of team composition, because he's getting to that 0 point. With Goats getting to that 0 point and Reaper getting to that 0 point, now he's a hero that is considered playable if you're good with him. If you suck with him, well, you're gonna suck. If you're godlike with him, you're gonna be good. Now, a lot of people, yes, are gonna get angry with the fact that he's not gonna be able to die, because he's gonna be able to sustain himself, because he's gonna be focusing on your tanks. Well, isn't that what a smart Reaper does too? I'm just trying to see it from both ends. I'm not trying to defend Reaper, I'm also not trying to hate on him, because you guys also have to remember is that if Reaper is killing you and no one's able to stop him, well, look at what you're playing. Are you playing up close and personal heroes like a Winston, like a Reinhardt, like a Tracer or something? Really up close and personal heroes? Well, yeah, of course Reaper's not going to die because he excels being up close. So why not play heroes like a Soldier, like a McCree, a Widowmaker, a Pharah, something that can take advantage of his weaknesses? There's this thing that I constantly talk about in my nerfs and buffs videos, which is getting heroes to that 0 point. What the 0 point is an intangible line that is supposed to represent everything being balanced. You can play whatever you want to play, you can play whatever hero you want to play, and because you're good with that hero, and because you're good at Overwatch, you are going to win. Not because of the hero that you picked in that specific season for a specific meta, but because you were good with the hero, you knew how to exploit the enemy's weaknesses, and you won based on skill, not just because of hero picks. That's how it was previously with Goats. Well, now now Reaper is able to slash that, but if they don't have goats on the enemy team, but you're still good with Reaper, you're still gonna allow yourself to win because you're still good with Reaper. It doesn't matter what the enemy team has. Now, unless they have long-range heroes, then yes, it obviously does matter, but that's where the better Overwatch player is gonna be able to adapt, switch off Reaper, and play a different hero. Overwatch is a game that encourages players to really adapt to the enemy's playstyle and make switches. That's why there's 29 different heroes for you to adapt to the enemy team. If Overwatch didn't want you to have that mindset, we've all been playing McCree. We would all be playing Hanzo. We would all be playing Widowmaker because, well, it's just about aim mechanics at that point. It's not about being smarter. It's not about exploiting enemies' weaknesses. In this case, the weakness to Reaper is long range. Probably you don't want to play any tanks like a Winston or a Orisa because he's going to be able to exploit that weakness. So that's why, in my eyes, Reaper isn't necessarily a broken hero if you're not running the previous composition. Yes, he's going to be broken if you're running goats. Yes, he's going to be able to exploit your weaknesses because that's what Reaper does. But on his own, by himself as a hero, now he's a much better hero. Doesn't matter if you're running 3 tanks or 1 tank. If you're good with Reaper, be careful with what the enemy team's playing, but you should be able to exceed and get the victory. So anyway guys, that is my video. Again, it's just this constant conversation of all these heroes getting to that 0 point. D.Va could be considered an OP hero, but because of these changes, now she's getting closer to that 0 point in the form of her being brought down and Reaper being brought up. That is the ultimate goal of Blizzard, is to get every single hero to that 0 point so that everyone could be an optimal choice. Mei, Sombra, Symmetra, Torbjorn, they can all be considered next. In this case, it was Reaper. So I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.